It's right up my street, it's my boulevard. It's right up my Straza, oh my God. It's garden right up there, ah, it's right up my podcast.
Welcome to Right Up My Podcast. My name is Kate White.
And my name's Gwen Watson. And this is the podcast in which we talk to a whole host, a bursting bevy of folk who have got some really great ideas to make you feel good.
And this episode, we are talking to Semra Haksever, otherwise known as Mama Moon, all about rituals and spells.
So Kate,
yes,
episode 26. How are you? What on earth have you been up to since we were last on here banging on?
Do you know what? I am really good and I'm feeling a little bit emotional today. Ooh. I met up with an old school friend that I haven't seen for 20 years. And I didn't expect it to feel so emotional, but when she walked into the coffee shop, we both just welled up. I got this big lump in my throat, tears in my eyes. It was so good to see her and just had such a wonderful catch up and just reminiscing about when we were at school together, chatting about our lives now, all the peaks and troughs and the highs and lows. And it was just amazing to see her again and kind of be reconnected to that part of my life and when I was younger, and it was amazing.
Can I just ask, have you been Facebook friends in the meantime? Are you connected via social media?
No.
No way.
No, we're not connected by social media.
Oh my God.
So it was just, over the years, we've exchanged the odd text message or WhatsApp now, because I'm down with the kids. But other than that, no, I've not seen pictures of her life, what she's been up to, and vice versa. We met very briefly in a pub with a kind of group of people, so it was a bit more surface level chat about 10 years ago. But no, there's just been no connection. And it was amazing to see her.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and when I say no connection, that makes it sound like a negative thing. It's not. It was just one of those life things. You know, you leave school and you go off and you go into your own separate directions.
Well, normal life until you're... You know, before the noughties, where we started hooking up with people on social media and learning what they had for dinner and when they put their bins out.
Yeah.
The shit that we don't actually really need to know or didn't know we needed to know. So this is very rare, though, surely, Kate.
Oh,
that
really
you meet
rare.
up with somebody that you've actually not had any update on what they look like.
Really rare.
Or what they're up to.
Really rare. And as soon as she walked into the coffee shop, I knew it was her straight away. And then there was really emotional moments where, you know, catching up on how each other's parents are doing and catching up on the kind of the personal relationships in our lives and how it's all been going. It was amazing. It's really, and it's really made me feel very kind of wistful and how, you know, sort of tinged with a bit of sadness that we weren't in contact during those 20 years, wanting to rekindle it now. I really feel like I want to stay in touch.
That's so nice.
The nostalgia.
And
there are so many people that I will never meet again, probably, that I went to school with. We weren't even that friends at school, but, you know, there's the flurry of everyone friending each other on Facebook, 20 years ago. And now I know where they went on holiday last year. I haven't spoken to them for 20 years. I'll never speak to them again. But I know their kids' names. I know where they work. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? And then this person, this wonderful person, you know, I just didn't have a clue. But yeah,
oh God,
it was
that's
amazing.
So funny. Kate, I've never considered that actually these people that we keep abreast of their lives, we will never actually meet up with them again. Isn't that funny?
No.
I know. These weird
someone
online
out there who's
pseudo-friends.
Yeah. There's someone out there who'll be like, oh yeah, Gwen moved back to West Wales. Oh yeah, she does this, that and that. You won't know them. Like, you won't never see them. But they know all about you.
Exactly. And this happens all the time. And even though I'm relatively active on social media, I still am surprised every time I meet up with somebody who I haven't seen for a little bit and they're like, oh, so you've just been on holiday to the Isle of Skye? Or, oh, I see you've been swimming in the sea. I'm always like, what? Oh,
stalker.
Yeah, exactly. Stalker. But yeah, but also I went to a wedding recently and it was really weird. I was meeting up with all these cousins and I was really looking forward to seeing them. But yeah, there were no surprises. It was literally like, oh yeah, so you've just been on holiday. Oh, that's nice. Like we ran out of things to say within about 10 minutes because we knew exactly what we'd all been doing.
Yes, it's killed small talk, hasn't it? Because you're like, well, what the hell do I chat to you about? You know all my news already. I know all your news.
Just been on holiday. I know. Next.
What of it?
Nothing else to
Onwards.
tell you. Oh, that's nice, Kate.
Yeah. What about you? So that has definitely made me feel really good. Anyway, Gwen, what have you been doing to make yourself feel good?
Well, let me see. I've got some telly that I've been watching, a little bit hooked on. But first, what I've been doing has sort of made me feel good in the moment and afterwards made me feel slightly regretful because it's barbecue season suddenly.
Hey!
It's just, yay, sun's been out, guns out. Or rather, the beer's out, the burgers are out. And I've been absolutely not hanging back, not holding back on stuffing my face with everything these barbecues have had to offer. I had a barbecue Saturday, barbecue Sunday. And
nice.
So I've rolled into this week. And
were they seriously meat heavy? Because whenever I do a barbecue, it never occurs to me that you can make a salad. Maybe pop a little bit of courgette on the barbecue. I'm always like, meat, throw more meat on. Where's the meat? We haven't got enough meat. Why do we do this to ourselves?
Yeah, actually, there's been some good spreads over the last couple of weekends of the barbecues I've been to. There's been some beautiful loads of salads, but yes, meat to the roof as well, of which I have partaken.
Excellent.
Even though I'm a bit of a meat minimiser in my own life. Well, I feel like a larger person than I was a couple of days ago. That's all I'm saying. And it's like, God, how can I keep this going? We're still in May. How can I sustain this level of gluttony? But anyway, do keep inviting me to your barbecues. I'm absolutely loving them. Also, what have I been watching? Oh, yeah. So my friend suggested an Aussie drama. Now, I don't know about you. I don't know if it's because I lived in Australia or what, or if it was, or that I was brought up on a diet of Home and Away and Neighbours, but I bloody love an Aussie drama.
Pretty good.
And yes, when I say drama, they're pretty light and fluffy. Like, I don't know if you saw The Heights, and probably not many people saw that. That was excellent. 2 series of that. And now there's a new one called, or I don't know how old it is, couple of years old, 5 Bedrooms, which is like a light and fluffy Melbourne-based Aussie version of This Life, if you remember that from our 90s. So there's like a lawyer and a doctor and the older women, and they're all living together in the house. And I am so hooked. Yeah. I bloody love it.
Oh, okay. This sounds good. I might have to look this up. I think because, like you said, we were brought up on our generation, Home and Away and Neighbours. I do find it difficult to take the Aussie accent seriously when it's in a TV drama scenario. I find it hard to get the depth and gravitas from what they're saying. It's like a barrier to me.
You're still thinking, Alf Stewart, you great guy.
Yeah, exactly. And Toad.
Yeah. Toadfish! Oh my God, I'd forgotten about Toadfish. Do you know that they're finishing Neighbours now? Not that I've watched it for a couple of decades.
I thought this was a gift that was going to keep on giving.
Well, exactly.
Wow.
No, but Channel 5 have cancelled it. So clearly they were the main distributors or the main purveyors of Neighbours. They've cancelled it, and so The Neighbours is over. Home and Away continuing strong was always my favourite.
Excellent. Do you remember, did you ever, when you were a student, you know you're having a bad day if you watch Home and Away twice, or Neighbours twice a day, the lunchtime showing and the afternoon showing. That's when you know you're rocking around near rock bottom.
I mean, basically, if any daytime TV is on, I feel like I'm rolling around rock bottom. I don't feel the same if I'm popping on iPlayer during the day to sneak a little episode of 5 Bedrooms, however. I love my fluffy Aussie drama. Because there's a hot guy as well. There's a hot tradie.
Well, it puts a little pep in your step.
And he's dating an older woman. Oh, it's great.
Excellent. I like it.
He's 37, she's 50. And it's made me realise, because it's still a little bit shocking every time they're together on screen. I'm like, we see this all the time, the other way round.
But we're conditioned to not know how we feel about it. It's that way around. Well, there's that new Emma Thompson film that's come out, isn't there, where she's Emma Thompson, I'm guessing, she's playing a 60-year-old woman, and she has a fling, I think it's a fling, maybe it's deeper than that, with a young, hot male. And so she's been doing quite a lot of press about that and about things we've talked about before, about where the roles for women of this age, and busting open that we're not used to seeing that way round, the age and the sex that way round, that dynamic. Yeah, not used to seeing women in that age category with not many clothes on. You know, we're just not used to it.
Yes, not used to seeing women in that age category on screen. Full stop. As we've discussed, when they get to 37, they're taken out to a field and shot. So it's refreshing. We need more of it. It has made me wonder whether I could date a younger man. I'm not sure.
What would be your hesitancies?
Well, my ex told me he started dating a younger woman and he called it off. He was like, God, I can't. We've got nothing in common. She's never heard of Buck Rogers. And
well, there you go. Where's your foundation?
I know, you've got to have foundations, haven't you?
I was walking past two people the other day on the street and they looked like they were in their 20s. They weren't children. And I just overheard a snippet of their conversation with one of them saying to the other one, Bono, you must have heard of Bono. And the other one's like, no. She's like, you too. Come on, you must have heard of you too. And the other girl was like, nah, don't know what you're talking about. And that's the scenario you might find yourself in if you start dating a 20-something-year-old, Gwen.
Oh, God.
Buck Rogers and Bono. Nope.
It's right up my podcast.
Now, just a reminder about our Patreon page. This is where we put our extras from our episodes and where we put all our jingles, and also where Kate and I do a little bit of extra whiffle waffle just for your delectation.
Now, we don't rely on advertising in order to fund the production of Right Up My Podcast, but we do have a Patreon page where we would love it if you could go over and if you can donate the cost of a cup of coffee once a month. That would just help to cover the time and the costs that Gwen and I spend in putting these episodes together, cover the time of our talented team who help us out and help us keep producing episodes of Right Up My Podcast with fabulous guests that we know you'd love to listen to.
If you'd like to become one of our supporters, head on over to patreon.com/Right Up My Podcast. This is episode 26, all about rituals and spells.
And this episode, we are talking to Semra Haksever, otherwise known as Mama Moon. She describes herself as an eclectic witch, an intuitive, a healer and an empath, and she runs the Mama Moon Emporium of Dreams in London. Now, she also has appeared on Good Morning with Holly and Phil, which seems to be a bit of a rite of passage for a lot of our guests. And she has a number of books to her name, which is actually how I first discovered her. Standing at the checkout in Waterstones, looked to my side, and there was this whole array of Mama Moon books. The Book of Magic, the Instant Magic Oracle, Love Spells, and Everyday Magic, rituals, spells, and potions to live your best life. So we were very excited to speak to her, and we started our conversation by asking her, what does she actually mean when she talks about rituals and spells?
The thing is, a ritual or a spell, it can be so many things. You can go all in, or it can be something as simple as having an incantation or a mantra that you say when you're brushing your teeth every day. You know, magic is all about recognising that you're an energetic person, that we live in a energetic universe, and that there's certain things you can do to harness that energy, which will then put you in a different frequency. And it's all about trying to get into those different frequencies, which then will either have you calling in abundance or whatever else you might be kind of, getting the job, feeling inner peace within yourself, whatever it is you might be calling in. If I'm talking about magic and spells, then I think that there's a lot of power in gathering all your tools, your herbs, your oils, your stones, crystals, feathers, working out what direction you're going to face, to get connected with the elements, and sitting there creating an altar and giving yourself that time to create some magic. That's it. It's about giving. A ritual is about creating time. Yeah. I'm a witch. I'm into all this stuff. I'll tend to go a little bit more deeper with it. But really, you can light a candle and you can make a wish. That's a ritual. It's putting yourself in that moment of complete. A ritual is a moment of complete and utter consciousness, because you're really there. You're really present.
I love this because we are so often not present. And we've spoken about this a million times, Kate, but, we're filling our time all the time. I was out on a walk this morning just listening to WhatsApp messages from friends all the way along and then messaging them back and thinking I'm not at all taking in any of my surroundings. And the same in the house. And I think it was on another podcast I heard about, somebody found that they were listening to an audiobook while they were cleaning their teeth. It's like we're literally giving ourselves no free time. And yes, it's about harnessing those little moments, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's even if you run a bath, and that's a ritual. If you make it a ritual, if you're cooking your dinner, that's a ritual if you want to make it a ritual, but it's just being very, very conscious of what energy do I want to put in this. When you're in the bath, what do I feel? What do I want to feel while I'm in this bath? Do I want to cleanse something? Do I want to, just have a moment of just looking at my amazing body? Not my amazing body, but, just how amazing my body is.
Yeah.
I'm in this skin suit with that holds all these organs together, that keeps a heart beating, that I don't even have to think about, so that I can be in this bath.
Yeah.
Just that kind of presence, consciousness. It makes you feel really good. And we walk around, even though I do all of this stuff, I'm a real person. I'm the same. I have to take the time out to do it. And it makes me feel better, which is why I know it's so powerful, why it's so good. But it's about taking that time. It's self-love.
Yeah, which is the heart of it all, isn't it? Definitely.
Yeah, because our minds run at 1,000,000 miles a minute, don't they?
Yeah.
Are there a sort of a series of key rituals and spells that you do in your own life on an everyday basis?
Mine kind of go up and down. Sometimes I'm feeling really tuned in and I'm really wanting to kind of do things all the time. Sometimes it's as simple as my best friend and I in the mornings. The ritual is just we leave each other a voice note with the things we're grateful for and what we set our intention for that day, what our intention for the day is. I feel like sometimes, especially through everything that we've all just collectively been through, I haven't been manifesting as much, or kind of, it's been really about the inner peace and just wanting to keep myself safe and sane. There's a self-love spell that I've got that I always start my rituals with. And it's a mixture of herbs. It was originally made to banish the negative voice in your mind. And
God, give me that spell.
It's got rosemary in it for protection, rose for love, frankincense and myrrh as offerings to our spirits, lavender for happiness, cinnamon for a blessing. I think that's everything in it, and it smells so beautiful. And it's one of those ones to just kind of burn and just tune in the nurturing mother voice to your inner child, and to turn down the negative one that's having a go at you for not doing enough, or not being good enough, or an imposter, or whatever.
Usually at 4 o'clock in the morning.
It's just it's a really good one to just kind of, that's definitely my favourite out of everything that I've got. I feel like it's the one that I connect to the most, that I just, I don't sell this incense. It's something that I always just give away whenever people come to my shop, because I know everyone has the same, you have that connection. We all have that connection of where our minds go. Well, lots of us anyway,
Yeah. So when you mentioned that list of ingredients there, and then you spoke about burning it, so you have put you've put that list of ingredients into an incense stick or cone, and so that's what people are burning.
Just the powder, so I blend. So with the incenses, they're just herbs that are ground down in a pestle and mortar, and then I burn them on a charcoal disc. The smell of that one is particularly calming. It's and all the herbs are they're very loving, gentle, healing herbs together, and it smells like that. The big batch that I've got, it's had probably over 100 people stir it. So whenever people come, if we've got a little circle at the shop, or I do ceremonies for friends. So friends come together, and I'll tell everybody to just blend it all for their friends, for themselves, and to blend it for everybody in the who might ever smell it. And so there's a lot of love that goes into it. And it's all, after lockdown, it was down to the teeniest little bit. So
really?
I added that teeniest little bit to then the next bit. So everybody that's come
that's lovely.
to the shop since has stirred it. It makes it just feel very, very connected to everybody,
Is that something you can replicate with, say, essential oils? that you can mix if you have all of those as essential oils?
Of
or
course.
Is it something... Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So you can create this in different ways.
Yeah, I mean, you could buy a new perfume, you could buy anything, and you can put an intention to it. I mean, you can drink a glass of water and tell that glass of water how it's going to make you feel, and it's your magic glass of water, and hold your hands around it and charge it up and just say, please, universe, this is what I want to bring to myself today, and drink it, and it's magic. You can cook your dinner that you're cooking for your friends and your family, and always stir it clockwise if you're doing something positive, And you just stir it, and as you're stirring it, just know that you're feeding love into it, and everybody that you're about to feed, yourself, whoever you're feeding, that you're keeping them alive, you're nourishing them. That's magical, in itself.
You mentioned there about stirring clockwise to bring positivity into it. Are there any other things like that around the home that are really nice things to bring into your home life?
Oh, let me think. I mean, I've got little things dotted all around. In the north of my house, that's where I burn incense, because that's air. So that's the element of air. So it's like what's coming in, what's going out. So that's always a really nice area to burn that. Things like rubbing chamomile on your doorstep and around your doorway. It's a really nice way to bring abundance and good vibes into your house.
I'm getting me some chamomile.
Yes.
Adding that to the list.
You can put, a little bit of marigold in your socks, or a little bit, just like this. I trust that you're going to take me in the right direction today if you're feeling a little bit stuck,
So just kind of really focusing on the reason why you're doing things, I suppose. So your reason why you're cooking and the people you're cooking for, the reason why you're putting clothes on your body and the purpose of wearing them.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
to kind of bring your mind into that.
Exactly. And, even just kind of, that whole thing of just like saying, universe, I need a sign today. Like, show me a sign today, and if you walk around looking for the signs, you will see them. Whether it's tuning into, flicking through something on the telly and a line that somebody's saying, you can connect to it, or overhearing a conversation on a bus, or, seeing some numbers that mean something to you, or things do happen if you ask for them. If you want to believe and you want to keep your eyes open, I feel like these signs can be presented to you.
Hey, now when you mention spells, obviously I'm sure a lot of people's minds automatically go to wicked spells. So I've got to ask, like when you were saying about stirring clockwise to bring in the good for the food, I was automatically thinking, what happens if you stir anti-clockwise?
If your mother-in-law's round.
Yeah. Do you ever use them for evil? Or do you use them for not good?
No, I don't. And I don't think there's many witches that do. I feel like that's a kind of, patriarchal story of what a witch is.
And why they were dumped.
That we're these, ugly old green women, hook noses, warts, hunchbacks. It's a story that's been made up by evil, be scared of them, they're going to do bad stuff to you. It's not a true story. I mean, I'm sure there are people out there who practice in that way, but nobody that I've ever met or learnt from, or anything has ever had any kind of evil in them. It's a story that's really got to be changed. Even sort of a lot of the witches that were in the witch trials. It's really interesting, kind of researching about them and stuff. I don't know if you saw the Scottish witches have just been pardoned.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, and I was part of a campaign. When was it? Last year, to try and get the Pendle witches in Lancashire pardoned. Wow. And the thing's still up to sign. Actually, the government signature. I think we were just nearly halfway there. But kind of these stories that have carried through. It's so sad, and a lot of these people that were burnt at the stake and killed in these horrific ways, they wouldn't have identified themselves as a witch a lot of the time. They would have been maybe midwives, herbalists,
healers,
wise women, wise men, and then somehow, but this kind of story was concocted to persecute women. Ultimately, there's a lot of, but not as many men, mainly women, but those kind of questions or kind of stereotypes of a witch, I think, can be quite dangerous. And I don't know. I think when I was doing this campaign, actually, I find the word I really was focusing on the word witch and what it means and how it affects people, and how so many people, if they are doing something and they're like, it's a little bit witchy, it's a little bit woo woo, and they don't want to say witch because all of the power that word means, it holds a lot of power, it holds a lot of sadness, it holds a lot of power, it holds a lot of guilt, a lot of shame, to actually what happened to these people. And so that's why, it's a little bit witchy. I'm guilty of saying that before too, but I did have a bit of a realisation of like, it does make people, you get worried sometimes of how it's going to make people feel, or people immediately might think that you're going to do something bad or they should be scared of you.
Oh, pomegranates, 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 they have lots of seeds. And yes, they feature, in the writings of classical Greece. You'll find them in Egypt, also India, yes, of course, India, and in Iran. I get mine in Sainsbury's.
I really enjoyed the clip of you on Good Morning with Phil and Holly. I couldn't help but notice that Phil was a bit of a doubter. And and it made me think that tying into what we were just saying, that how much that must happen in your day to day. Like, do you meet lots of people who are doubters or who are immediately a bit judgy, or how do people react when you tell them what you do?
I don't actually. Well, I've got two things to say here. I have the ultimate comeback, which I'll share with you in a minute. But just before that, I don't. Like, luckily, touch wood, I think that generally if people come into the shop, they've got quite an open mind. And I also think that the way that I talk about it, I think I'm a realistic mystic. Like, I think that I like that too. but I think it's got a real ring to it. But, I think that I'm quite keeping it real with it. I don't, and I think that when I explain how something might work, it really opens people's minds, and it maybe, I don't know if it's a combination of people finding it at the right time for them, and they get that maybe the universe put them there and they needed to hear that right there and then, or the way I explain it, maybe that's just kind of quite, real, keeping it real. So people sort of like that. If I have a real skeptic on my hands, then I lean in close and I ask them for a strand of their hair. And they get so freaked out. And they won't give me. They will not give me a strand of their hair.
Interesting. Even though they don't believe.
Exactly. So it's like, okay, you know what, you don't believe? All right, fine.
Yeah, love that.
Let's see.
That's brilliant.
Tell us about your Oracle book. Tell us a bit more about that book.
So the Oracle book, do you know what? I wrote it in lockdown, and I was just going through the same thing as everyone else. And I really got, and it was always going to be an oracle. That was kind of what I'd pitched for this one. And I feel like it's got every single tool that I've ever used myself in my own life in it over 25 years of doing this. So, so there's a lot of, all about just having that quick moment to raise your vibration, but also sometimes it's not all about raising our vibrations. It's not all about having us feeling happy all the time. It's sometimes there's little moments where it's like you need to check in on this, or that is not working for you anymore. And, you will land on that page when you need to see it and what it means. It will always be these messages, it's amazing how you can open it and it's just like, And then there's a few mini spells in there, because I think sometimes we don't slow down and we don't stop. And so sometimes there's a ritual, and if you land on a little mini ritual, then it's like, this is time to just do this. And I've tried to keep the ingredients to a minimum that you need for the spells. So it's stuff that hopefully everybody would have in their kitchen.
Okay.
So
I was going to ask, actually, what kind of kit do we need if we're going to embark on? Because I really want to start doing some rituals in my own home. Do we need to go out and get stuff, or can we use what we've got?
A lot of the time you'll have the stuff in, if you've got a good, I don't know what's mine's in a drawer, or a good stock cupboard of herbs for cooking, you'll have you'll probably have quite a lot of stuff, like a good base is like, for what you'd have in your kitchen. Rosemary's great for protection and healing. Yeah. Sage, as most people know, sage is really good for banishing negative energy. Yeah. Black pepper is really good for banishing something, if you want to get rid of it. Lemons are always great for sort of like new beginnings. Cutting it in half signifies that.
I love it. Keep going. This is brilliant.
We're writing a list.
Cloves are good. Okay. Cloves are great for courage. So if you're feeling nervous about something, cloves are great for courage. Thyme is great for trusting your inner voice. So if you want to put a couple of sprigs in your bra, they're really good for that. Bay leaves are great for wishes. You can make sigils. You have to Google how to make a sigil. I won't explain it all now. But for making sigils, or just for writing a little message, and then just burning them. And they spark up when they burn. You can also burn them and ask questions. And if they burn really quick, it's like a yes. If they take a bit of time to burn, it's to think about it a little bit more. If they get really smoky, it's a no. So yeah, there's that's all that kind of stuff's in the oracle.
Yeah,
it's so fun as well. It's like, it's kind of, you can get really creative with it. And I think that the important thing to remember with all this stuff is that, I know you were saying what happens if you stirred anti-clockwise. It's like, it's all about your intention.
Yeah.
Everything at the end of the day is with your intention. I get so many messages. Am I doing this right? Is this, because people get a bit scared. And I get it, because you're making magic. Who knows what's going to happen, but
feels powerful.
It is powerful, and it's, magic, like I said earlier, magic works in mysterious ways. You want to make sure that you really know what you want if you're asking for it. Be clear on it. And be clear, because sometimes what you're calling in, you don't know what kind of shifts might happen en route to this outcome, this desired outcome that you're calling in.
Okay, that's interesting. So what other things might have to be pushed aside to make room for that thing that you want?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or that the change might be not quite what you were expecting. One of the spells that you did on Good Morning was the that woman getting rid of somebody. And so you were putting a herb,
cayenne
or
pepper.
Suggesting a herb.
Yeah.
Right, in the tips of their shoes, pointing towards the door, which I loved. But then you did say, be prepared for, you might leave. Yeah. It might not be that they leave. It could manifest itself differently, that you leave the situation.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Sometimes you don't know how it's going to work out, and that's the thing. That's the exciting thing, though. But you're really throwing yourself out there to the universe then, and that's part of the magic as well. It's trusting the universe. It's being able to go, woo! Sort of like throw yourself into it and just trust that you're going to be caught, and I think that, it's interesting. That is sometimes conversations that I can have with people, and then I'll have the same conversations with people who believe in magic, and it's a completely different conversation, because the people who believe in magic, will believe this is, anything's possible. Whereas when you're not in that zone, sometimes you can't see a way out, or because you don't have that trust that if you fall, the universe will catch you. Everything's going to be, the risks can be paid off, and everything is, if you think of everything as energy, every time you're shifting a little something, you go into a new frequency. Just even I was just listening this morning when I was getting ready to your last podcast. About the phone addiction stuff.
Oh yeah.
Which is something that I can relate to, and
not alone.
and I know that if there's a day where I'll be like, right, I'm just going to leave my phone at home, or I'm just going to switch it off, amazing things happen, because I feel like I'm just, that energy that the phone power takes up.
Yeah.
I've all of a sudden got this space for other stuff, and I believe it, and I set the intention when I do it, and the phone goes in a drawer, and it's like, right, don't want to touch it today.
And isn't that interesting? It's so different to, I forgot my phone. The outcome is very different to, I'm intentionally leaving it at home, and it's going to be a day without it. Yeah,
it's empowering, and I think I think that it's like I think one of you was saying, it's scary at first, when some, you know, but then actually it's like afterwards, it's like, actually, I can do this. And
It's great.
it's so freeing.
Releasing, it's freeing,
Yes.
exactly.
It's releasing.
that's
So
it.
it's an energy. So when you're releasing that energy, you have a load of free space around you to really, you know, and that's why I always say turn your phones off when you do, if you're setting intentions, if you're making any magic, it's so vital that your phone is switched off.
Yeah.
You know, don't have your phone on, because there's no way, you know, you need a good 20 minutes away from it either side, minimum, to be really focusing on what you're doing.
Yeah, and just not being in the periphery of your thoughts.
Yes.
I found that really interesting what you said a minute ago about how people who believe in magic, they see a situation as anything can happen, anything is possible, and I'm open to any outcome, as opposed to the flip side of that of like, oh my gosh, anything could happen. That's terrifying. I don't know how I feel about the unknown and the uncertainty of it all.
Yeah.
And just that different headspace.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. For the fear of the unknown, that's it.
Yeah.
They don't have it. You know, they're too scared. And it's often people who are quite in control of stuff. You know, like control freaky, just kind of like, you know, I can't have it any other way. This is the way it's always been, or, you know. And it's like, but there could be so much more. There could be a whole world out there. But a lot of the time, people are in unhappy relationships, you know, or in a job that they don't like, or something's not going wrong there, you know. And it's like, but if you just tried to not be with this person, or to think about what else you could do in your life, you know, you're an amazing being, you know, like so much could happen, but there's the blinkers on, because that's what they don't see anything else. They're not able to, you know.
Well, and change is scary, and it's
Absolutely.
a risk, isn't it?
Absolutely. And also it pushes you, you know, it's kind of like it works both ways.
And what you were saying earlier about magic, I'd written down the quote that you've got on your website, which is from Roald Dahl, where he says, those who don't believe in magic never find it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, but you know, it's that thing, isn't it? If you just kind of really think about the absolute magic of a human body and the way it gets about and connects with other humans and animals, you know,
Trees.
our pets
I
and
always
trees.
think that
and
about trees.
Yeah, and I'm getting there, you know, flowers, like, you know, like nature, waterfalls, the sun, the moon, like, if you're not kind of walking around just in pure amazement all the time, you know, you can be. Do you know,
What are you doing?
It's totally possible, you know, even just thinking about how we got here, everything, how the world was created, everything that came before us, dinosaurs, you know, like it's sort of...
We're lucky.
It's all kind of happened and we're here. How can you not feel magical when you sort of think about that?
I think you should give this thing a try. Oh, yes, I do. I think you should give this thing a little try. Why don't you give it a little try? Ha!
Now, as you know, we like to invite our guests to set us, and you, our dear listener, a bit of a challenge. Now, this one is lovely, and it is one that you can do along with us right now. Just take a moment, listen carefully, and get ready to spread a little magic.
Place your hands on your heart and you feel it beating, and know that our hearts, when they're radiating, when they're sort of like turned up a bit and we're engaged with it, the electromagnetic field of your heart rate can go for 2 meters all around you. So really just kind of placing your hand on your heart, you know, taking a nice big deep breath and just thinking about someone that you love, like someone that you love so, so much, you know, whether it's a human or a pet. Just think about how much you love them and just see their little face. Really just think about how you do anything for them, you know, just think about how pure and special that love is. And then really feel that love energy coming out and beaming out through your body. And you might see it as a colour, like a nice pink or, you know, a nice golden light. And really feel it beaming out around you. And make yourself a little promise that every person you meet from that ritual onwards, whether you do it every morning or, you know, whatever, every person you meet is going to be touched by this light and love. And that you really want to spread this love energy to everybody, just acknowledging that everybody needs it, and everybody could do with it. And just set about your day. And I bet that you will have an amazing, magical day.
Thank you so much to Mama Moon for taking the time to join us for a chat. And if you want to find out more about Mama Moon, then you can head to mamamooncandles.com. And on her website, as well as finding out about her books and some of the work she does, you can also book an appointment to visit her in her emporium in East London, where you can join in with some of the group rituals that she holds, or you can just book a bespoke one-to-one with her to talk about whatever your needs may be. So head to mamamooncandles.com.
And also, as the website suggests, she also makes candles, doesn't she, Kate?
Oh, yeah.
For all your different needs.
She does, and they're beautiful. And she does gift vouchers. We bought my niece a gift voucher for her birthday, actually, and she loved it. So you can buy a lot of her products online, which is really great.
That is lovely. Now, Kate, before we get into the try it out section and whether and how we got on with Mama Moon's love spell, I've come across a little questionnaire online. This is in to find out if you are a white witch.
Oh yes, okay, I'm in for this. Hit me with it.
This is in Soul and Spirit magazine, and this is one that you can join in with at home.
Okay.
Are you ready, Kate?
I'm ready.
Okay, question 1. There are 11 signs, apparently, of a white witch.
Okay.
And here they are. 1, you often have prophetic dreams.
Okay, so I dream about something and then it comes true.
Has that happened for you ever?
No, I've not had a sleep dream. I've had a kind of daydream that then has come to light.
Oh.
For example, there's this huge big wall space near where I live, which always has a huge big street art mural on it. And they painted over it in preparation for doing a new one. And me and some people were chatting about what we would paint on it. And I said I would paint an absolutely enormous sun. The next day, the artist came up and started painting an enormous sun.
Oh,
they then did put a load of other shit over the top of the sun. But even so, there was a sun involved. Does this mean I'm a witch?
Ding! Ding! You have 1 point.
Gwen, you.
I don't know. I remember once I guessed what was coming up in a Home and Away episode the next day. It was Bobby throwing a milkshake over Frank.
Bobby!
So I remember it. I dreamt it the night before and was so impressed. I really impressed my friends with that.
That is a bit witchy.
Okay, question number 2. You can easily pick up on an atmosphere. Do you walk into a room of people and know immediately if there has been an argument, etc.?
100%.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Do you?
I think so. I think I can tell. Yeah. It says many witches are highly clairsentient, which means all feeling, all sensing. Oh. I'm going to give us a ding for that one.
Yep.
Question 3, you prefer to be outdoors. Do you want to be outdoors whatever the weather?
All the time. I'm never happier than when I'm outdoors. I'm like a tiny little puppy dog that needs taken out on a walk on a daily basis.
Amazing.
You?
Good crikey. No, that is a 0 for me because I love it when it's good weather. But other than that, you'll find me indoors. Thank you very much.
Bring me the sofa.
Question 4. You are a sensitive soul. Can you feel another's pain or discomfort? People may talk to you or want your advice or want to confide in you about their problems.
I would say yes. People that know me who are listening to this might be like, no, Kate, you are like a brick wall. No. But
you are the absolute last person I come to with my problems.
But I feel yes. And sometimes I'm so worried or concerned about other people's feelings that I make all the wrong decisions because I'm focusing too much on that than I am on myself.
Don't you be a people pleaser.
I know.
This is the worst.
You're like, Kate, you are not a white witch. You're a classic people pleaser. Back down. What about you, Gwen?
Yep, I am definitely a sensitive soul. And I definitely, the other day I did, because I was in all these different chats with different friends, and suddenly I thought, God, I'm like an unpaid counsellor.
Yes. Yes. You should start just sending a cheeky little invoice every now and then, see how they respond.
Yeah. I thought I just want to put my phone down for a minute and have a little break from it. Question number 5. You feel a draw to a particular animal. Okay, so think back into your childhood. Has there been an animal, bird or insect that is always with you or found you wherever you have been, even on holiday?
No. That's
Other
a no
than your
from
spotty
me.
pig.
Other than my old mate, the spotty pig. FY, haven't seen one
what
since.
episode was that?
That was the year of magical living. I had this weird, intense encounter with a spotty pig. Haven't seen or thought of one since. Sorry.
Your spirit animal. Where is it now, hey?
Very unattentive spirit animal. Come on, dude. Try harder. But that's a no.
It's a no, yeah. I don't think mine's... Yeah, I do love crows still. I wanted a crow to be my spirit animal, didn't I? I'm very drawn to them because I want them to be my friend, but I'm going to say I don't. Now,
you grew up with horses. Has that left you with a sort of a deep affinity to the equine?
I love
beasts?
horses. I love to bury my nose in their neck. But, I mean, whether that makes me a witch or not is to be seen.
Yeah,
question 6. You like making home remedies. Do you like spending time creating homemade herbal cures and remedies, or are you fascinated by homeopathy? No, I'm not.
Yeah,
that's a no from me.
Yeah.
I put frankincense into my... my air purifier thing, but that's as far as I go. Number 7, children and animals are naturally drawn to you.
No. My own children are sometimes drawn to me. It depends what sweets I'm holding in my hands. And if you do that with strangers' children, you get in trouble. So that's a no from me.
Do you know what? It's a yes from me.
Is it?
Children and animals bloody love me. They'll find me. Yeah,
really?
They'll crowd. It's also because I'm an absolute softie. So at barbecues, I'm surrounded by dogs. They know.
Oh, wow. And, you're just throwing bits of sausage in their direction.
Maybe that's why they're naturally drawn to me.
Come to me.
But no, I'm sticking with it. They love me. Number 8, you are interested in the universe and solar system. You might be interested in the zodiac and astrology. You might like watching documentaries about the universe and all the different planets.
I'm not. I don't read my star signs, and when I do, it tends to then follow on with me going, "What? What a lot of rubbish."
Is that a no from you?
That's a no from me. But, I love following the moon cycles. I really love that, and all of the things we've spoken about before around that. And I do love reading about my personality traits based on being a Capricorn. I find that really interesting. I just don't like the daily horoscopes.
Yeah. I mean, how can they be real?
I know.
But I do believe in the personality traits. Yes, me too. I do believe that because also I'm a Virgo and I'm drawn to Capricorns because we're both earth signs. Hello.
Oh, yes, baby.
We've never had this conversation before.
We haven't. God, I love you.
I love you too. But I will say, well, usually when I get interested in the universe, I become absolutely paralysed by how tiny and insignificant we are. So I try to avoid doing it too often. But
that's not a good feeling.
No, but I love the stars, and I want to have a telescope. So I'm going to say, when I've become a grown up, I'm going to have a telescope set up. So yeah, that's a yes from me.
That would be brilliant.
You like arts and crafts?
Yeah, like arts and crafts. Yeah, I like that. I don't do it lots and lots, but I always find it satisfying when I do, creating something with my hands. Actually, that's why I love doing this podcast, because it's the closest I've ever come to really creating and crafting something with my hands in a way.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that. While our friends are knitting jumpers and making jumpsuits, we're knitting audio. Yes. But I tell you what, I bought a glue gun this weekend, and friends and I who were doing some walkabout theatre were creating these amazing hats.
They were
which I think I
amazing.
said. And I tell you what, just being like really focused on that for a couple of hours, cutting and sticking was so much fun.
Was it?
So
the
I would
pictures
definitely...
you shared with me were hilarious.
Do you know what? I might share them on the Patreon just for our Rump Club because they're pretty hilarious.
Think My Fair Lady, Audrey Hepburn
on drugs
on a bad day. Yeah.
On LSD. Number 10, you recycle. You care deeply for the earth and environment and try to protect the earth whenever you can. Is that a true for you?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. You?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, defos. Although,
Defo.
yeah, sometimes I'll definitely buy veg that's wrapped in plastic, but I'll feel bad about it.
Yep.
And finally, number 11, you believe in the greater good. You do everything with goodness in your heart. You try your best at everything. You also believe in magic and all that it means, including the possibility of fairies and other elementals of the earth.
Well, so... Okay, there's so many different points in that one question. Let's start. I'm sorry to say, I don't think I believe in fairies. Oh my God, I can hear all the fairies dying around me.
Little fairy hearts breaking in the garden.
But I do believe in the infinite possibilities that in the universe, and I do try and be a good person.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm joining you on that. Yeah, I try to be good. Yeah. Friends might listen to that and go, Gwen, you're an absolute dick. But I feel like generally I'm pretty bloody good.
But if your intention is to be good, even if it comes out in a dickish kind of way, then you still get some points for that, right?
Surely I'm going to give us a ding for that.
Ding.
Surely ding. So apparently if you got 8 or more, you are a white witch. I've actually lost count along the way, but I'm going to say that we are both borderline white witches.
I'm pretty sure that's true.
Pretty sure, 100% true. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed joining in with that home. If you are a white witch as well, then please do send us an email right on mypodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, we want to know.
So, Kate, how have you gone with this episode's Try It Out section? What have you been trying out?
Well, of course I did we're calling it a love spell, but it's not what people might think of as a love spell, isn't it? It's not like bring my love to me. It's push my love out to others. And that was a really lovely exercise to do, wasn't it? It was really lovely.
Yes.
It left me feeling all warm and glowy. And then I found the next couple of interactions I had with other people, I probably had that slight head tilt, sweet smile. I probably was a bit sickly actually when I was talking to them. Love.
Radiating love right in their faces.
Radiating love. So that was a really nice thing to do. One thing that
Can
was
I
slightly...
ask you who you were thinking about during it?
My kids.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, just that sort of deep, intense feeling. One thing that I found slightly disconcerting at the start when she says, put your hand, feel your heartbeat. I couldn't feel my heartbeat for love nor money. So I did wonder if I was dead during one section of it. But I'm hoping that I'm not.
Well, I think because we've got boobs in the way, haven't we? It's very hard to just feel your heart, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think they definitely get in the way. She says, imagine a light coming out of you. Took me a while to get past the fact that she said a light such as pink or gold. All I could think of was the colour pink. As soon as she said the colour pink, I was like, cannot think of another colour other than the one you have said. And then eventually I dragged myself away from that. And purple, I was thinking this purple light coming out of me. And yeah, it was nice. It made me feel really, how did it make me feel? Just really full of love and compassionate towards everybody around me.
That's really lovely.
It was lovely, yeah.
That's nice.
Did you do it? Did you do the love spell?
I did the love spell as well. I was thinking of my mum because my mum hasn't been well. She had shingles in her eye. She's had such a rough time. And so I sent her so I was sending her my love, thinking of her. I got slightly distracted when she said it could be a pet. So I immediately started thinking of Toto.
Yes.
Sending little Totorito my love instead. And I was like, no, think of my mum. But actually, my mum is much better. I've been away for a few days and she is much better. Now, whether it's due to me sending her whether it's due to my love spell or whether it's due to the fact that while I was away, my sister was around there every single day,
Right.
feeding her, taking her out for walks, giving her a foot spa. I mean, it's hard to tell.
Definitely
It's
your
hard
love
to tell
spell.
who had more impact. But it
Now-
felt like a really nice thing to do anyway.
Oh, I'm so pleased. That's so good. I'm glad your mum's feeling better as well. That's amazing. Now, this is really interesting, though, because you and I have both interpreted that spell differently. Because I interpreted it as think of that love you feel for that person you're thinking of, keep that feeling in you, and then put that out to everybody else that you see during the day. So kind of share that feeling of love with others. Whereas you've interpreted it as think about that person and you're sending your love to that person.
Oh, yes, you're right. Now, I think I actually did do both versions of it, though, because when I was coming
Interesting.
home on my train from London the other day, after we'd been to the podcast show 2022,
So
such
fun.
a lot of fun. We've put recordings
Head over to Patreon if you want to hear more about that.
more about us meeting Sean Keaveney, which we're very excited about. Needless to say, he's now our best friend, and hopefully he will listen to the podcast too. That'd be really nice.
Hi, Sean.
Anyway, hey Sean. So yes, on the train on the way home, I was thinking, well, this is a good opportunity to share some love and to kind of, push some love out into the world, as you were saying. And because usually on trains, I don't want to talk to anybody. And
Yeah.
if somebody gets on my journey up to London, somebody got on that I knew, I was just like ducking down. I was like, I don't want to talk.
Really?
I want to be, I want to have my book, or I'm on my iPad. I don't want to talk to anybody. Anyway, because I was just, I guess, being a little bit more open and mindful of pushing the love out.
Yeah.
I got to this, it was a ridiculously long journey. Trains were delayed. Trains ended up being cancelled. I was stranded like an hour's drive from home, or 45 minutes drive from home. And I saw this guy that I'd not seen for a while. He is a young guy. He's got a rare genetic disorder called Williams syndrome. And he was there by himself on the platform. And I went up and chatted to him and discovered he'd been on the platform by himself for 2 hours. And
Right.
I kind of became like I wanted to make sure he was going to get home okay. And then I bumped into this other young woman who I hadn't seen for a very long time, who's a daughter of a good friend of my mum's. And anyway, long story long, she was calling her mum to come and get her and invited me and this guy to get lifts with them.
Yeah.
So we all went off together, this little merry band. And her mum dropped us off at our destinations. And it was just like a really nice little rare out of the ordinary moment. And I mean, who knows if it's at all related, but I like to think that because I was a little bit more open to just talking to other people, that it helped. That it helped a few of us out. It helped us get home. So
That's really nice. And maybe that's the power in the spell, that you go out into the world feeling love towards other people, and then therefore the way you act towards them is more open, rather than going out in the world feeling like, go away, everybody, don't talk
Get
to me,
out
I
of
hate
my
you
space.
all. Yeah,
Yes.
rage,
And that
rage.
that old adage about, you smile at somebody
Yeah.
and then they smile to the next person, and it all has a knock-on effect, doesn't it?
Yes,
I really
pass
believe
the
that.
kindness.
I really do believe that.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I do. Pass it
Yeah.
on. And those little acts of kindness that happen every now and then from a stranger, the impact of them can be huge. That can make you
Yeah.
feel so good. That kind of renewed faith in humanity, like,
Yes.
wow, isn't that incredible?
Love
And
it.
it does make you want to act like that towards others.
Yeah, more of that. Not every day of the week, obviously. It would get a bit
Oh, no.
annoying.
Definitely not on Monday morning. What day is it today? Monday. Whoa.
Easy now. But the other things I've been doing is making little moments into a ritual. And when we were talking about the full moon ceremony last episode, and so I've been doing the lighting candles when I go to bed.
That's
nice. Sitting there with my atomizer on and my candles lit while I read my book, just making these little moments more special.
Yes.
And just kind of being more present. And what she was saying about, anything can be a ritual or spell if you put your intention into it.
Yeah, that really
So,
resonated with me, actually, that even just pouring a glass of water, as you said, if your intention is in it, that can be a special little moment where you focus your thoughts onto what you want that to be signifying. And I really like that a lot.
when I was lighting my candles, because I've now built like a little sort of shrine. I've got my little Buddha statue there, and I've got like a couple of stones that are shaped like a heart. And I was, as I was blowing the candles out, I was like, thank you for helping me have a good night's sleep just before I went to bed. And it's just, I like the idea that anything can be, we don't need all the ingredients and tools. Anything can be a ritual or a spell.
Yeah. And actually, some people listening to this might be really interested in exploring more about, she talked about chamomile and paprika and cloves and all the different things that you can do with those
Sticking
ingredients.
cloves in your bra. I haven't done that yet.
I rubbed a chamomile and honey tea bag around my front door. I don't know if that counts. But I didn't have any fresh chamomile leaves or whatever, so I just got a chamomile and honey tea bag and rubbed that on my door frame. So we'll see if anything comes from that.
Hey, you're working with what you've got.
Well,
that's going to attract abundance and good times, isn't it? Just you wait, it's all coming in.
Exactly. So some people might be like, that's really fun, I want to explore that more because that feels good. But even if you're not really interested in going down that path, just the rituals element of it can be really satisfying and fulfilling, and kind of protecting these little moments and making them feel significant. And it builds in shape into your day as well. It builds in a bit of sort of colour into the everyday, I find.
Yes. On that note then, would you try it again? The rituals and spells, has it made you feel good? Is it one for you?
I really enjoyed hearing her talk about it, all the different elements, the way it can be done, whether it's sort of ritualistically or whether it's using these herbs and ingredients. I would definitely remember that little spell for putting out love into the world. I thought that was really nice. I don't think I'm going to get into making tinctures and herbal remedies.
And
I don't
sigils.
think sigils. I don't think I'm going to go down that road. When we moved into our new house, I did buy some sage to do some smudging around the house because we had such a weird, stressful moving experience. I thought that might banish a little bit of that.
Yes.
But I think part of that would just the sort of ritualistic element of doing it almost then psychologically helped me get rid of all of those emotions. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to start going down the road of actually mixing together different things. But I would love to go to Mama Moon's shop in London and go and experience one of her group rituals and do that with a group of people. I think that would be really fun. I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
What about you, Gwen?
Yeah, I mean, what was really striking me, like you talking about the sage, there is so much that we've taken on that, in a way, like she was saying, that we would say it's a bit woo-woo, but that's become a little bit accepted that we do.
God, I'd have never done that before starting this podcast.
Oh, really? Yeah. Love that. So, I feel like, I mean, whether I'll actually get to, mixing herbs and spices together, I don't know. But I like the idea of it, have to say. I like the idea of making something that smells lovely, burning it, setting your intention and being present and taking those little moments and creating little rituals. I think that feels really, really nice and really important when we're when we're usually just really distracted. I think it just makes us more mindful. But if I come across a concoction that I can shove in somebody's shoes to get them to leave my house, I'm all for it. Thank you for listening to Write Up My Podcast.
You can email us with all your thoughts, suggestions and feedback to writeupmypodcast@gmail.com. And why not head over to Instagram and Twitter, where you can find us at WriteUpMy.
Don't forget to subscribe and follow wherever you listen, please. And if you have an eye product, you can go on over to Apple and review us. We would love to see your 5 stars and to see your review. Thank you very much. And don't forget also, please do share with your friends.
If you would like to enjoy some extra content, extra chat between Gwen and myself, extra photos, extra whiffle waffle, then head over and join the Rump Club at our Patreon site, which is patreon.com/writeupmypodcast. thank you to the team who help us put these episodes together.
That is Andy Grimes, who is exceedingly talented and makes our very special, unique music for the podcast. The delectable Pammy Muir. She has been back to cast her editing fingers over this episode. Thank you, Pammy. And Erica Francis George, who makes us look good with her handcrafted artwork. Thank you very much, you awesome people.
We will be back in a couple of weeks with our next episode, but meanwhile, keep trying things
to make you feel good. Bye-bye.
Tell me, did you like the podcast, Brian?
No!
Oh.
If, unlike Brian, you thought our podcast was really great, then don't hold back. Like, subscribe, and tell your mate. But if, like Brian, you thought our podcast wasn't fun, then just keep quiet. Don't feel the need to tell anyone. We'd love to hear from you if you've got some thoughts to share. Such rich and lovely views that all should be aware of. But I hope you liked our podcast and you thought it was really great. And if you did, like, subscribe, and tell your mate. 'Cause we don't need grumpy pants bringing everybody down. No, we don't need negative Nellies making people frown. No. So I hope you liked our podcast and you thought it was really great. And if you did, like, subscribe, and tell your mate.